What's up, everyone? Welcome to Romans Creative Academy. I'm Jay.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to talk about some misconceptions we had when we started investing in real estate. So, Mike, take it away.
Absolutely. So that was 4 long years ago. So thinking back, what was the biggest thing that I think stops everybody from wanting to get started in real estate or honestly in anything in life? It's either your dedication or your time, your money commitment, right? So the biggest thing for us was that we thought we needed a ton of money to get started, which is a big X false, right? So just to give you a little backstory, about 4 years ago, me and Jay were just working our jobs, and it was this rainy day on a Sunday, and we decided let's get some coffees and go for a drive. So we go for a drive in a town of Philly or a part of Philly called Fairmount. And that's like the nicest area, one of the nicest areas of Philly. And we come across a house, the only one in like the 10 block radius that is abandoned, run down, the whole nine. So being us, knowing not really much about real estate, we see a fixer-upper house and a nice neighborhood. And we're like, all right, let's do it. Let's figure this out. So we wind up seeing the houses up for auction for 50,000. It was worth like 450 fixed up. And we're like, crap, where are we gonna get 50 grand from? Plus another 150 for renovations. Right? We can't do this. And we just let it go. And if it was today, the shoes would have been reversed and I would have damn flipped that house, right? Because of what we know now. We didn't need to come with $200,000, right? There's so many different ways you can get your cash. And it's maybe doing some sort of seller financing where you just make payments every month to the seller. If you need cash, because maybe it's at an auction or a sheriff sale and you can't do seller financing at those, you can borrow cash from somebody who has money but doesn't have time to invest in real estate. And now you're controlling a building with none of your own cash, which kind of leads us into our next couple points here of misconceptions, where misconception one is you do not need a ton of cash to invest in real estate. Misconception two.
Before we get into that one was the one that got away. I still to this day think about it. I still wish we would have bought it and let go of those fears, right?
Yep.
But absolutely. The next one that we're going to talk about is going to banks, right? So there's this misconception that you need to go to the bank, or number three would be have good credit, right? So just like people think that, oh, when I sell my house, I need to go to an agent. That's false. That's not true. You do not need to use an agent. Title companies and attorneys can do the transaction for you. And you don't have those added fees. But going back, you do not need to go to a bank and you do not need to have great credit, right?
Yeah, we tell everybody we buy houses with little to no money of our own, no credit and no banks. And how do we do that? With creative financing. So what does that mean? Basically, what we do is with all the homes that we buy, we either ask the seller if we can make payments to them every month, or we just take over their mortgage that they already have. That mortgage never goes into our name, so it's never on our credit, and we never need to use our credit.
What? Yeah.
Being that we're self-employed, right now would be very hard for us to be able to go and get a loan. Even though our credit scores are great, banks want to see that you have X amount of history being self-employed. We're just not at that point yet. So for us, even in our shoes with what we do, we need to still figure out ways around how to work with a bank, how to be approved, all that stuff. It's a long, drawn out process. We did it actually twice and we'll never do it again. Since then, we've only been doing it with none of our own credit, no banks, and little to none of our own cash.
So just quickly, how did we fall into this creative financing world, right? So we fell into the problem where we wanted to scale and we wanted to scale it quickly, right? Our portfolio. And unfortunately, knowing that going to the bank, we would need to save 5, 10, 15, 20% as a down payment to get into the house. And that just wasn't feasible for us, right? So that's how we came across, we started looking for solutions for that. And we came across creative financing, and like Mike said, we don't go to banks. Which leads me into the fourth misconception, and that is that the houses need to be fixer uppers. They do not. Most of our houses that we purchase are completely, utterly turnkey. So we don't have to bring in a bunch of contractors. We don't have to put in thousands, use other people's money, because that was a worry for us. It was a worry for us to use other people's money and then not be able to say, do the burst strategy and leave money in the deal, right?
Yep, exactly. And as you heard from our first story, we were looking for a fixer upper. Well, now the roles have reversed. We do not want fixer uppers. Those are the last type of properties we want. We don't want to be involved with contractors. We don't want to have an extensive rehab that takes months on end, that with issues that can arise. I'd rather buy a property that is ready to go. We buy homes just like that all the time, where somebody, just needs to walk away. And that's actually what we did a few months ago. We bought a $250,000 home with $10,000 and to close on it with everything, attorney fees, the whole nine. We didn't even broom sweep it. It was mopped, ready to go. And the next day after we closed on it, we listed it for a rent to own buyer.
We sound like brats, but what's the reason that we do this? The reason is because we do come across situations of sellers that just need to walk away, that they don't want the house anymore, they can't afford the house anymore. So we essentially, purchase that house from them and then turn around and do rent to own. That's a story for another day. But that's why we like to tell people there's a huge misconception that you need to purchase a house that needs thousands to be fixed up.
Yep, and one thing I will say is, some of you guys are asking us all this, you make it sound so easy. Well, you gotta remember that we started 4 years ago, right? And over time, we tried to learn by ourselves for 1.5 to 2 years. And then finally, we stood up and said, enough's enough, we wanna actually make something happen here, which is when we really got serious. And we started actually setting goals for ourselves. So our biggest thing is that we set goals for ourselves at the beginning of every year, and we list out some basic goals, in detail for the coming quarters. And at the end of every quarter, we review our goals, did we hit them? And then we break out our goals into monthly and weekly achievements for that coming quarter. And it sounds like a lot of work, but it actually helps because it keeps you accountable to yourself and makes you do what you want to do. And if you set small goals for yourself, you can chip away at them all the way up until you hit that big goal. Now, we have a routine that we do. At the beginning of every year and at the end of every quarter, we go to our little coffee shop in South Jersey, because we live in Philly. We sit down, we take a day, and we have a couple coffees, we have pastry, whatever, and we go through our little goal setting checklist. Now, to run that back, if you go to romanscreativeacademy.com, you will actually see on the website in the freebie section that you can download the exact template that we use. It's just a guide to help you. It's up to you to obviously put those goals in there, but we want you to understand that no matter where you start, whether it's just maybe watching our videos every week or picking up a book and reading, or maybe going to some meetups, a goal is a goal. And we want you guys to do two things. We want you to set a commitment for yourself, and we want you guys to set a goal for yourself. So commitment is your minimum. I have to go to at least one meetup a month. My goal is to go to one a week. So as long as you go to one a month, you're okay. If you hit your goal and you achieve your goal, that's even better. So that's the little bit of the secret sauce for us, is we always have a commitment for ourselves. And in every business, we have that baseline, and then we have that goal that we want to reach for to help keep ourselves and our team accountable and make sure that everybody's striving for more.
And just a little spoiler alert, in our goal setting template, we kind of guide you into reverse engineering your goals, right? So if you want to do, if you want to acquire X amount of properties to your portfolio a year, okay, that means that you have to do X amount of deals a month or purchase X amount of deals a month, right? So we kind of guide you through that in the goal setting template. So definitely go grab it. It's what keeps us accountable. We love looking at our goals. We love setting them on a monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis. It's a must, I think, in our business, and I don't think we're ever just gonna stop putting goals out there. So yeah, so you want to say any last words before we hop off here?
I would say this, guys, is don't compare yourself to anybody. Set your goals, set your commitments, and then just start taking some action and learning. If we didn't just take one first step, we would have never learned about the things that we know today. And I don't know if we would be where we are today if we just didn't take a step. So take that step. If that step is watching us every week, I'd love to have you guys every week. If it's going to meetups, go for it. But with that being said, guys, I'm Mike,
And like I said, I'm Jay.
and Roman's Creative Academy is out.
Bye.